Hi, everyone. Happy November. It's November 7th. It's the new month. My goodness. If you are joining us for the first time, welcome. I decided to reinstate the monthly Bazi talk back in August. So the beauty of Zoom is we're still able to connect and keep up with the elements. So hopefully everyone is doing very well and survived the month of the dog. October. I'm so curious to hear how everyone's October went. Here are the past talks that we had. If you're interested in getting a copy of the recording, just shoot me an email and we'll send you the Google file and you'll be able to listen to them. Tonight's workshop will probably be about 30 to 40 minutes because we want to go ahead and just kind of get to the gist of everything. Okay, I just got a message from someone that says October was tough. And October went well, but it was a bit of a struggle. Okay, both a bit struggle and bliss. Yes, blessing in disguise. So I want to decompress a little bit from the month of the dog. If you've ever taken a Bazi course from me or Bazi session or any kind of Bazi talk, you may be familiar with, how the dog is a very heavy, profound spiritual element because it's part of this elemental combination called the gate to heaven and hell. It's a very dramatic terminology when we translate it into English because it is the opening to the spiritual realm. It is an invitation for all of us to sort of come back home, return to home. What is home? It's asking you to root back down to your belief system. What are your values? A reinvigoration of what are the things that are important to you, who is important to you. And from, the seasonal impact, the dog, October, represents the end of the autumn season, fall. If you think about it in nature, it's very similar to when we look at how nature manifests itself in its own cyclical terms. At the beginning of fall, you notice that the leaves are yellowing. And so us being members of nature, you ask yourself, what are the yellowing of leaves in my life? Maybe you're starting to feel a nudge for things to change, a nudge for things shifting in your life. It's an indication or an encouragement for things to move on, time to let go. And then after the yellowing of the leaves, then the leaves depart, they detach themselves from the trees. That is when the true letting go really occurs. That's the month of September. We tend to feel melancholic and, sentimental, sad. There's a grieving part, nostalgia. We tend to remember things of the old. And then when we hit October, it is really like the dead zone. If you think about the leaves, they're no longer yellowing, they're no longer falling down from the trees, but they're on the ground and they're kind of disintegrating and they're returning back to the soil, back to Mama Earth. And, and then also in the Bazi system, the dog is also called the grave of fire. Grave of fire, think about that. Also, as members of nature, we experience these cyclical life and death patterns where some parts of ourselves die, whether that is a true and a tangible manifestation of death, like we lost someone we love, or maybe we lost that job, maybe a part of our identity has been lost, to the intangible, more spiritual representation of loss. Maybe it's an old addiction or a dream or a habit that we experience. So grave of fire, that's the dog. The fire element, as we know, is a representation of joy and energy and passion and momentum. It goes to the grave. It goes to die. It doesn't just die, but it enters into the grave. And so it's usually a bleak time. Even the stock market normally tends to get a little bit fun during that time. When I used to talk a lot in the beginning of the year about the behavior of the stock market, we have what we call the Black October. A lot of the, if you don't mind muting yourselves, that would be great. So even the crash of the stock market, or we have some of our biggest dips in the stock market, all of those indications happen around the month of October. So as we're surfacing out of that energy, and today is November 7th, this is the beginning of the pig month. We're just barely into this new energy. I think that's why it's so important to decompress from what occurred in October, whether it was literally hard or struggle, or perhaps it was kind of like, I would say dormant or kind of easygoing, just on the surface. It's not usually the best time in October, okay, to have major life things like surgeries, procedures, business dealings, because the month of October is also the absence of noblemen. There's no noblemen in the whole month of October. So that's why the dog month is always a bit precarious, okay? So that's what we're moving away from. Now we're stepping into not only a new month, but also a new season. And so it starts today and it goes until December 7th. This is also the start of the winter season. It's the final season of this whole tiger year. And it's the start of the water element, but the water element's just a trickle. That's why we call it drops of water, like a little tiny mountain dew, okay? It's the first indication of winter, okay? Maybe snowflakes, if you can think about that. And because this is also related to the water element, we start to begin to pay attention to the different areas of our emotions and the different parts of our bodies. Think about what happens in nature, what happens to the animals in the wintertime. It is a time of hibernation, of rest, which, as we know in the Western world, we don't tend to rest in the wintertime because that's Halloween and Thanksgiving and Christmas, and we get all crazy and then we get all hyper in preparation for the new year. So a lot of us really kill our adrenal during the winter time because we are going against, the seasonal effect of what the water element is asking us, which is to restore and to reflect, allowing the water element to wash over us. And this is essential. This is very essential for us because this is when clarity comes. It impacts our kidney qi. And, in Chinese medicine, the kidneys is a very important organ system. We call it the battery of life. It houses our will. It stores our destiny. This is where we conjure up courage, right? And the willingness to fight or the willingness to persevere and endure, that sits in our kidneys. And so, we all know that the holiday season is usually pretty busy. So the question then becomes, how are you going to find moments of calmness? How are you going to incorporate, habits where you can rest? Does it mean maybe you give yourself a half hour extra to sleep in? Does it mean, you pull away from your use of technology, half an hour earlier, so you can just sit, maybe use that extra time just to sit and pray, meditate, or maybe just to do breath work, to lie down. It's not a matter of doing major things, like dramatic things, like I'm going to go on a 30-day silent retreat. Certainly, if you can afford it and you can manage it, why not? But that's not the true reality. All of us are very busy and we have a lot of responsibilities. And so really the question is, how are you going to incorporate the influence and the message and the theme of the water season into your day-to-day life? Okay. So here we are. We're back with the nobleman, with the piggy month. And so for those who were born in the year or the day of Yang fire or Yin fire. So for those that have a Bazi chart, like you have a copy of your Bazi chart, you're going to look at the pillar that says Yang fire, or I'm sorry, the year pillar or the day pillar. that says yang fire or yin fire. If you have this, that means the whole month of November is your nobleman, okay? Or if you were born in the years ending 6 or 7, these are the examples. And so what do you do with that? Well, maybe you want to reflect on October and go, what were the hiccups that popped up in October? You know, what became so difficult? What didn't work out in October? What fell apart in October? You know, what what were the things that kind of brought on some struggles or brought on some difficulties? Well, if November is your nobleman, then it's a month to encourage you to try again. But remember, the biggest theme that nobleman offers is that you don't have to do it alone, right? Because nobleman means you will meet a helpful person, or there are more helpful, fruitful opportunities popping up. And so I'm not telling you to be obsessed. I remember I had a client once and she was like literally obsessed at trying to, look at everything as a nobleman opportunity or a nobleman person. Remember, nature does its own thing very organically, and nobleman appears to us even when we're not conscious of it, okay? So sometimes these are small things like you're traveling and then you get upgraded to first class. You weren't even asking for it. Or it's pouring down rain in New York and you come out of the building and there's a taxi right there in front of you. Those are nobleman moments. They can be that trivial to very, very, very large things like I haven't been able to sell my house, but suddenly something changed. Maybe it's a different breed of buyers or a different caliber of buyers. And suddenly that particular hiccup or challenge or obstacle that got in the way has been removed. The obstacle has been removed, and the nobleman is allowing things to move forward. But also don't forget, the nobleman doesn't always represent rainbows and unicorns. Certainly, there are moments like that. I think in the Western world, we call that divine synchronicity, when you meet the right person at the right time, at the right place, and you're just like, holy cow, that was amazing. Never thought that could happen. But a lot of times, remember, nobleman is also an essential element or an essential ingredient for correction in our life, okay? Correction, what does that mean? That means, have you made some bad choices? Maybe you eat too many cupcakes and you gain 5 pounds. Did you commit to a particular obligation that suddenly you're regretting, because maybe you didn't think it through? Did you make some mistakes along the way? Maybe you weren't in full alignment with who you are and what you desire deeply. So nobleman shows up as a way to help us correct the way. Okay, I always like to use the analogy of driving on a road. I always use that reference when I'm talking about the cycle of luck and things of that nature. Just think of you could be driving on a particular route and you think you're going in this way, but you kind of lost your way because you weren't paying attention, or maybe you got distracted and you lost your way. Suddenly the nobleman comes and there's signs going, hey, turn left, or no, turn right. Try to look this way. So nobleman is considered the number one best element, but they can sometimes come to us in a very jarring way, almost like in a life and death situation. And if you've ever heard of my past talks about noblemen, some of the most traumatizing, difficult, even life-threatening situation, people overcome those situations because of noblemen, okay? So if you do have a nobleman this month, I think the best way is to really ask yourself, what do I need corrections this month? Especially as you decompress from October. Maybe October got you down a little bit. Maybe you got discouraged a little bit. Maybe your routines and your habit kind of fell off, because something happened. You got too busy or lazy or whatever the reason is. What is the correction? And second, I think it's useful to have some sense of direction that you want to take. whether that is in business or related to personal relationships, asking yourself, what areas of my life do I need an extra boost? If I could just get that extra boost, it would just really help. What is that? And so having a clear idea or some clarity around that will also help with manifesting, with praying, with, kind of molding what that helpful situation or helpful person would look like to help you get to the next step. Okay. So the next 30 days are essential, especially if it applies to you. Now, there's a double nobleman day. So if November is your nobleman month, then these two particular dates are also the Piggy days. So that means you would have a nobleman month and a nobleman day. All right. So take note of this. If you want to arrange for special meetings or special procedures, things of that nature that you think you could use an extra boost, then jot down these dates because that would be really helpful. I just want to check and make sure that there isn't any questions. Every month, we always want to pay attention to clash. Clash, nobody is immune. Nobody is exempt from clash. And don't ever forget, clash is an essential ingredient to help move things along in our life. If you ever feel stuck, kind of like doing the same thing over and over again, some clients would say, I've been interviewing, but nobody's biting. I've been trying to work out, but the weight is not moving. Anything like this, where you feel like you're stuck, clash allows to help to push things along. But clash is also, the breaking of things. Remember, what is clash? Clash means one element sees another element and then they fight like this. It's like two cars colliding, they clash. So it's very dynamic, it's busy, it's very action oriented, it's conflicting, it stirs up discomfort. Things are unplanned, things don't go your way. It's not a sleepy time. It's actually a time when people feel really crazy, like too much going on, too chaotic. Just imagine when you have a clash day, just to put things in perspective. Just imagine, think back to maybe when you wake up and you were like, oh no, I slept through the alarm. So then you're running late. And then you're trying to get ready and you're like, where's my keys? My car keys. I can't find my car keys, like that. And then you're in the car and you're trying to get to your appointment and then you miss your exit. So you're running late. These are clash indications, okay? But now just imagine if you have the whole month like this, okay? And then just imagine when you have a whole year of clash. And then sometimes you have a whole 10 years like this, right? So of course, the intensity and the magnitude of the clash, kind of, you can see how it gets bigger and bigger. But so if you have a clash, like you can see here from the slide, just kind of take note. Okay, well, it's going to be kind of a cray-cray month. I might be easily irritated. I'm less patient. I'm, a little bit more agitated. If you're a control freak, clash is a great helper, to teach you to be patient and to relinquish control, to kind of accept, where you're at, just being present. I have a lot of clients that, after years of learning their Bazi, they tend to come back to me and say, you know what, it wasn't as bad. And that's always the best answer, because then I know that they're really acutely aware. We don't suddenly fall into this trap of thinking, oh, the universe is trying to get me, or that person is just being mean to me. They're picking on me like that. No. It's just the space that you're in. Okay. So I'm saying this umbrella commentary for those that have been coming to the Bazi talk or not, if this is your first time hearing it, but if you've heard this, this is just another reminder, because we're all going to experience clash one way or another. So if you have any snakes in your Bazi chart like this, you could be born in the year of the snake, month of the snake, day of the snake, or the hour of the snake, which is outlined here, then this month is your clash, okay? The one way to help minimize it from just, I would say, a material perspective is to carry an amulet. So it's very similar to Feng Shui. We have different objects to cure, and those objects are more elemental. But you can carry the pendant of the tiger. Now, that's just symbolic, right? We don't really know if it works or not. I think the most important part to remember when you're under a clash is just to have that sense of awareness, to be like, okay, I just have to manage this, kind of volatile, turbulent time briefly. It's not going to last forever, just the next 30 days. And there's going to be certain days that will be a little bit more, heightened than others. So sleep will be disturbed. Like I said, maybe you have erratic, kind of vivid dreams that can also happen during the clash month. Okay. All right. Okay. Now the pig is a unique element. So if you've been learning Bazi for a while, you would hear things like penalty, but there's different kinds of penalty. For example, in the month of October, we talked about earth penalty. And that's, to me, I find earth penalty the most dangerous. And it's always serious and it's always bad. But bad in what way really depends on how the person is bringing themselves into that energy space. For instance, if you're obese and you're negative, you don't really take care of yourself, and you treat your life recklessly, then the earth penalty can be quite bad, quite serious. And I won't necessarily regurgitate what those are because we're not in that space now. But there's different kinds of penalty. And the pig is a particular kind of penalty that's called self. Oh, can somebody mute themselves, please? Self penalty. So what's self penalty? Well, it is just what it means. It means self-sabotaging. Look at this picture. You're like, uh-oh, that's not a good thing to do. So once in a while, certain people have self-sabotaging tendencies. This can be physical or it can be psychological. So for example, physical might be self-harming. So that's that happens to certain people depending on their environment and their upbringing and their conditioning. But there's also things like eating disorder, like hurting your body in that way. Maybe addiction, so drinking too much, or eating, like binging, eating too many cupcakes. I don't know why I always like to use cupcakes because it's funny. Or smoking like this, it's bad. So self-penalty, self-sabotaging is, that it's bad for you, but you do it anyway, because there's an energy that you're sensing, energy that you're feeling that you can't quite get out of. Remember, it's penalty. Penalty is something deep-seated. It's inside of you. It's not like a clash. A clash is, everybody knows it's happening. You guys broke up, you got into a car accident, you moved houses, it's loud, noisy, public, right? Penalty is the opposite. Penalty is inside. It's something you keep very private, very secretive, like this. But then it's a self-sabotage. So it's something that you don't reveal to people. It could be you wake up at 2:00 in the morning and you sneak and go to the kitchen and you binge eat like that. From a psychological perspective, these are people who kind of ruminate too much in their mind. Sometimes it exhibits like self-critical, like you're terrible, you talk bad to yourself. You're self-inflicting, the pain like this. And so there's a short period in time, which is in the month of the month of November, where that penalty, that self-penalty is agitated. So again, it depends on who the person is. So if you're, let's say, a recovering addict like this, or you're a recovering alcoholic, and you have this kind of chart, there's different kinds, but I'm just using the pig as an example. That means the month of November, you have to be a little bit more careful, a little bit more aware, because it's an energy that's influencing you and it makes you want to go for that drink. Okay. Or if you're a gambler, recovering gambler, it makes you want to find a way to go and gamble, even though you know it's wrong. Okay. So how do we really, and when you have your Basi chart, okay, so self-penalty is the pig. Okay. So this is a pig month. And then also if you have a pig element. But to me, based on my experience working with clients, I find that if you were born on the pig day, this pig day, if you have your Basi chart, look at your pig. You look at your day pillar and see if I have a pig. If you have a pig, that means you have that tendency. Okay. So I think it's really important to even reflect and say, what happens when things get tough? What happens when I feel a little bit low and discouraged? Do I tend to do things that causes me to self-harm, whether that's in a physical way or in a mental way? So how do we really minimize this? And it may not pertain to you, but maybe you look at your children's chart or your husband's chart or anybody's chart, and you can see that pattern. These recommendations will still apply. Let me just make sure. I'm checking questions. We'll get to those in a second. So, like I said, don't overreact and make rash decisions. What happens is when we get uncomfortable, right? We're a society where we like to mask suffering as quickly as possible. So when we get uncomfortable, we want to get out of it as soon as possible. So sometimes when we do it, we overreact and we make rash decisions that actually end up biting us in the butt. Okay. In Christianity, we actually call that desolation. You suddenly feel dry in your prayer life. You suddenly feel disconnected from people and of the world, and you just feel ugh. And because you want to start to feel things, you want to feel engaged and uplifting and this and that, you start to make crazy decisions. You know what? Maybe I should quit my job. Maybe I need to tell that person off. So just kind of chill pill. That's why we know Basi, to help kind of give us some parameters and understanding as to why we're feeling what we're feeling, to validate that. And beware of your vices. We all have vices. So kind of asking yourself, where do you go when you feel down or stressed out? Some people drink too much, some people do too much shopping online, spend money they don't have. And so just beware of your vices, okay? And kind of maybe put some rules around that to say, well, if I am a recovering alcoholic, that's a no-go. Maybe I need to go talk to my sponsor, and maybe I need to go to more meetings this month. If I tend to spend money I don't have, maybe I need to talk to my spouse to kind of help me around that. Maybe I don't spend thousands of dollars a month. And I'm using these examples because they are real. That's why it's get an accountability buddy or plan, someone that you can trust, someone you trust to kind of keep an eye on you, or just to check in, drop in and see how you're doing. Remember, there is no magic potion to this. There isn't a trinket. There isn't a, an object that you can put in your house. And this is all your mind. Okay. This is your sheer willpower in realizing, okay, I'm going to need a little bit more help when it comes to this particular area this month. So don't fall back into old habits that you've already overcome. And remember, the feeling is temporary. It's just for the month. Okay. It doesn't mean it's an indication of, oh, I'm in bad luck, Jen. That's it. It's over. That goes back to overreacting. Okay. So don't overreact. It's just the month. It's temporary and it's fleeting. And, remember water, the kidney chi. It's all about the will, courage, What is that? Where do you muster up the courage? Is it your family? What anchors you down, to say, this is tough, but I have these things to fall back on. But also, where does it sit in my heart or in my own spirit to help me endure and to persevere in this particular time? And so remember, penalty is a secret. So don't keep it a secret, Tell someone, tell a girlfriend, tell your spouse or something. If you're a younger person, maybe tell your parent, always ask for help. And I think all of these particular recommendations can at least give you a boost, okay, stepping into that self-penalty month. Okay. Just for fun, because I don't know, everybody's calling in from other parts of the country, but we have an election, midterm election. I think midterms everywhere, but I'm just saying. I wanted to look at some Bonsai charts for fun. So Carrie Lake and Katie Cobbs, let me see, I have her up here, are running for governor in Arizona. And wanted to kind of see who has the better luck or what can we expect and all the things. So Carrie Lake, and this is how we look at Bonsai charts. We will be playing with these we're going to be reviewing these charts again as we approach the new year. But Carrie Lake is a Yang metal woman. Yang metal, remember what Yang metal is? Yang metal is the warrior, the soldier. A lot of activists, humanitarians, politicians are Yang metal. Think back to Martin Luther King, the Queen Elizabeth, and also people who exhibit, beauty, because metal is the skin, like the Jennifer Lopez and the Scarlett Johansson, that's Yang metal. So she's strong because she's born in the monkey month, which is the metal season. So metal supports metal. So she's very strong. So when you're a strong metal person, that means you need water, wood, and fire. So those are her favorable elements. Well, wood, this 2022 year of the water tiger. Water tiger is really water wood. Okay, so water wood means the element of the year is very supportive to her. So this is good luck. And she's also 50. Oh, I didn't even write her birthday. She's 53. So she is currently in this luck, age 45 to 55. So this fire means power. Power, that's why you see we become politician. Many of you have heard me talk about power, similar to Arnold Schwarzenegger, kind of entering into his power luck. He runs and becomes a governor. When he was younger, power element, he became a bodybuilder, you see. So the Kamala Harris also, when she transitioned to her luck, she entered into her power. So that's why she ran for a Senate and then ran for higher office. So that's the influence of power, okay? So she is in her power luck. And this is the ox, okay? From age 45 to 55 is the ox luck. This is her 10-year nobleman, okay? So there's definitely more juice, okay? Because remember, nobleman is good. So from just her independent chart, looks like her elements are strong. The element of the year is also quite supportive. And remember, our election time is always in the winter, November, right? And November is water. So you can even see in her Bonsai, because she needs water, wood, and fire, water being the number one element. So that's also very strong for her. And we look at Katie Hobbs. Katie Hobbs is a little bit different. She's a yin fire like a candle, but she's born in the winter, December. So just think about that. She's just a little candle like ocean around her. So the candle is very weak. This reminds me a little bit of President Biden's chart, because President Biden is also yin fire, like this, born in the winter time. So very, very weak candle. But she needs wood, right? And so the tiger year, next year, 2023, is the rabbit year, also wood. So here she is, she's a fire person, but because she's weak, that means she needs wood, she needs fire. These are her good elements, her favorable elements. And she's also getting the support from the tiger and also from the rabbit in 2023. So Katie is also, she was born in 1969, similar to Carrie Lake. So she is in this luck. And this is also the fire luck. Okay, fire is also her friend. It's not her nobleman, but it's still a good element. So, but we'll see, okay? Because the seasonal impact, seasonal effect has an impact too, right? The month of November. But guess what? November is her nobleman month, okay? It's not Carrie Lake's It's Carrie Lake's favorable element, but not a nobleman. So it's kind of like a toss-up with these two, because it's like it's not so obvious as to who is in much stronger luck and who is in bad luck, you know, because they're both not in bad luck. They're actually in good luck. Okay. So we'll have to wait a few days to see who comes out the winner. All right. But that's how we would normally look at Bazi. Okay. In terms of where are we at in our life and how to make decisions and how to move forward and what's influencing us and how to maximize it. So that's just a little fun thing that I decided to add for the pig. So, okay, we are getting ready to roll out a bunch of new classes in 2023. I'm very excited. In particular, we're going to be doing our annual talk like we always do. This year, upcoming year is going to be super special because this is our 10-year anniversary that I've been offering this talk. And so we're going to have a little bit of celebration if you can join us in person. I'm offering the workshop twice. Of course, at my studio, it's very limited seating, but we're also going to be live streaming it on Saturday, January 7th. So you can join in. It will be recorded on that day. So if you can't actually join us, no worries. We will send you the recording and you can still see what to expect in 2023. And then I'm also reinstating our community workshops again with our introductory courses or workshops that are open to everyone and anyone for free, just to come over and learn more about what these different modalities are about and sort of play with that and see how it incorporates. So if you know people who are brand new to Bazi, or you want to just come and get a refresh, save the date. We'll be doing that again in person on Saturday, February 11th. And these will all be uploaded on my website. We're working on that right now. But as we're concluding, that's it for the pig month. Don't forget to sign up for your annual updates or holiday gift giving. Hope to see you. Are there any questions as we reach the end of our piggy talk? I'm going to check and see what everyone's saying. So someone asked, what happens if it's the pig is your double nobleman, but it's also self-penalty? Well, yes, just because you have a nobleman doesn't cancel anything out. That means the penalty still has to occur, but the nobleman will be helpful to help you overcome it, or the penalty won't be as bad. So it just may be a small irritation. You know, maybe you just don't like your hair that month. Or like, you know, you're just a little bit more cranky like this. That happens too, you know, in self-penalty, but it won't be anything dramatic, you know, like relapse, you know, setback, things of that nature. Okay, so nobleman is still a gift. Okay, remember, people survive, you know, Captain Sully, right? Those people thought they were all going to die, right? Because it was a clash. But that happened to be a lot of multiple noblemen and they survived, okay? So take comfort in knowing that you have the protection of noblemen. Okay. All righty. Thank you guys. No more questions. Well, I hope to see you all very soon. And once the recording is available, we'll send it all out tomorrow and talk to you very soon. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye. Bye, Kathy and Jim. I can see you guys. Robbie, Jerry, Mary Beth, Deborah, Rosemary. Bye-bye.